Welcome to this week's LPT Live. This week what I'm going to be talking about is how raising your standards can change your life. Now, I thought this was important to talk about because this fits in with a lot of the things I talk about with self-image, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But firstly, let's talk about what is raising your standards. What does it really mean? Well, ultimately, when we want to improve ourselves, when we're on this journey of personal growth and we want to get to our level of our new best self, as it were, we need to raise our standards in the areas of our life that we want to see improvements. But raising our standards is really the art of stretching, and more specifically, stretching outside of our comfort zone. You know, this is where the magic happens. Stretching or moving outside of our comfort zone, this is where growth happens. If we're just stuck in our comfort zone, it's all comfortable and warm, and it might feel like it's the place to stay, etc. But ultimately it's not very satisfying. It doesn't lead to growth. But growth happens outside of the comfort zone, and that is where the magic happens. It's a more of a fulfilling place to live. But this is probably one of the reasons why many people don't move out of the comfort zone, because it's, you know, or why a lot of people don't grow in the way that they wish to be growing, because ultimately that's what it involves. It means moving outside of our comfort zone. But let's talk about the comfort zone, because ultimately it's this false mental barrier. It's this area of certainty, and many people are clinging to certainty. It's a place where people like to be. You know, it comes back to, you know, being certain, or having this perceived level of control of your life. But really being able to deal with uncertainty is a very good trait to be able to have, to be able to deal with life, because life can be very, you know, unpredictable. Things can happen. So it's this area of certainty, and ultimately moving outside of the comfort zone, there's an element of uncertainty to deal with this. And this is why moving outside of the comfort zone, there can be it can feel uncomfortable. Be, you know, we can experience discomfort, feelings that we're unfamiliar with. We're putting ourselves in situations, doing things there's an area of uncertainty, and we have some fears and doubts, or worrying what other people think, etc., depending on what it is. So there's this level of uncertainty, and it can be a bit uncomfortable, and this is why many people are clinging to the comfort part of our comfort zone. But one thing I'm going to say on this is that it's going to be one of the biggest barriers that we face, stepping outside of our comfort zone. And the more that we do it, the more that we're familiar with it, then we get a bit more used to that feeling of uncertainty. It's like embracing that uncertain feeling effectively. And when we do it more and more, it actually becomes easier and easier to actually understand what it feels like, and the fact that it's actually not that bad. And it's just one of those things that you sort of you learn to deal with effectively, because you're used to that feeling. It doesn't really take you so much by surprise. But we need to understand that the story that we are telling ourselves of these different circumstances, this is what's providing us with this excuse to stick inside the comfort zone. And like I've mentioned before, you know, the mind can justify things very easily, you know, especially in congruence with our current emotional state. So, you know, this is why we need to have an observational look at our mind, question our thoughts, and have it be a bit more detached almost from the mind, thinking about do our thought service, because the mind, it can justify, and it can keep us tied to our excuses and provide us with stories of, oh, I can't do that, and excuses, etc. But it's really leveling up, raising our standards, and realizing that we need to go past that if we're going to receive an element of growth. But why should we raise our standards? Well, we need to get to this level of demanding more from ourselves than others would expect from us, because it's really, many people they understand that they need to grow, or that there's areas that they're struggling with, they want to work on. But it's when it moves from I should do this to I must do this, that's where change happens. That's ultimately where there is a level of that is going to be implemented, because many people talk about, I want to change this, I want to do this, but it doesn't really happen. You know, it's only the few who really dare to do the things that I'm talking about here and really step outside the comfort zone, do the things necessary to get actual change. And this is why real personal growth can be difficult. This is why I think many people don't do it, because a lot of the time they don't believe a lot of the things that I discuss each week are possible. They don't think that they're sort of stuck in that level of this is who I am and that's it. But also there's that element of understanding that I don't want to do that because that's uncomfortable, and people are sticking more inside their comfort zone. But we need to have a level of self-belief and make those shoulds into musts. You know, this is how we change our lives, and this is how we live our best lives, our extraordinary lives. This is how we improve the key areas of our life that are going to improve the quality of our life. And it comes back to what I've spoken about before, where if we want to raise our standards and if we want to replicate other people's results, our mentors, our coaches, the people that we look up to, we have to raise our standards to their level. We can't expect them to come down to our level. If we want their results, then we have to raise our standards to their level and start to move, shift and grow, cultivate this new self-image, raise our standards in the direction of the results or the things that they're achieving, the things that we're inspiring to do. And that's where we need to raise our standards in that direction. And this is why I talk about it a lot. This is why it's important to have people around us who are having this level of consistent growth-centric part of their philosophy, part of who they are. And you know, this rubs off on us, this influence rubs off on us, and you know, having these people around us, then we can see what is possible. This is what helps to shift our belief in ourselves, and then having this level of inspiration to really create these things that we should change into the things that we must change, and then we can raise our standards to their level.